reminder, I'm Corey Wolf, Director of Offensive Security at Risk360, and we're talking about ransomware. So every week, we do put out a ransomware analysis for the previous week. So the week starting May 19, there was a total of 82 victims released to ransomware leak websites. The busiest group last week was the Play ransomware crew. They've been active almost 2 years now, since mid 2022 is when we first saw them. You might know them for being the ransomware crew that took down the city of Oakland. So they've been pretty busy. They do something a little different, where you don't typically see this from ransomware crews. Typically in their ransomware notes, they say, hey, go to this dark website and use this encrypted messenger to communicate with us. Play uses email, which is different, but they've been extremely busy. They had a total of 12 victims last week. If we take a look at their leak site, the last 12 victims of theirs were, the last 11 of 12 victims of theirs were US-based companies. So interesting to see that they only target US-based companies. There's some from Eastern Europe, to be fair. I believe out of the last 12, one was based in Poland. The other 11 were US companies. So just something to look out for. Interesting how that works. Apparently they took the weekend off. Maybe they had a long holiday. Who knows? But Saturday they didn't release. There weren't any released to leak sites at the very least. So you should check that out. There's a link in the description if you want to learn more about last week's ransomware activity. I suggest you check that out. First thing we want to talk about today is Google patching the 4th 0 day in 2 weeks. So just in the past month alone, there have been 4 0 days reported and patched for Chrome. So in this particular case, with this last one, exploiting the wild, it's a vulnerability, is a high severity flaw, type confusion. But the interesting thing here, V8 JavaScript engine and WebAssembly engine. So for those of you that don't know, Chrome is based off of an open source project called Chromium, which is an open source browser. So Google develops Chromium and then creates Chrome from Chromium. But there's other browsers that are based on Chromium, most notably Edge. So Microsoft Edge is a Chromium-based browser. There's many others, but as far as the enterprise goes, Edge is a Chromium-based browser. So this vulnerability does affect any organizations that were using Chrome or Edge, but it's a high severity vulnerability. And again, the 4th from the past 30 days that have been patched by the Chromium team. This one has been seen to be exploited in the wild. It does allow for remote code execution. Google has released a patch for this, which is available now. So the typical recommendation here is to patch Chrome and update it to the most recent version, because this last one, and I believe the other 3 from this month, are being exploited in the wild. So it's kind of crazy because I can't. Where are the numbers here? There's been a lot of activity on Chrome vulnerabilities. I can't see the actual number. I don't remember. But just in the past month, to have 4 0 days is a big deal. And we saw an uptick in this last year as well, where Chrome in the browser in general is just being, exploited more and more. So this is a big uptick in issues for Chrome. Luckily, this last one was discovered by Google's threat research group, the threat analysis group TAG, so Google TAG, if you've ever heard of them. They did discover this, so I guess that's a good thing, and quickly pushed the fix over to the Chromium team to fix this. So make sure you update Chrome, make sure you update Edge, yeah, a lot of activity on the browser in the past year and a half or so. It's been getting busier and busier as far as vulnerabilities go in the browser. Microsoft just released some new intelligence, a new research report on a group. Yes, a group called Moonstone Sleet. The Microsoft naming is, I don't know, God, they're tough. They're tough. I don't know. This was a big deal. When Microsoft switched over to their naming convention last year, there was a lot of talk on Twitter and in various circles about the craziness that Microsoft uses when it comes to naming some of these APTs, advanced persistent threats. Formerly known as Storm 1789, Moonstone Sleet is a pretty active North Korean threat group, and Microsoft has put out some new research on this particular group, some of their tactics, techniques, and procedures. The one thing that I wanted to call out is, well, first and foremost, as far as Moonstone Sleet goes, they're putting out some trojanized applications. In this case, putty. So there's putty is used for various things, but typically it's used for SSHing on Windows host. But Moonstone Sleet has released and continues to release backdoor versions of popular software, in this case being putty. The other big thing that they're doing, which we've seen a lot of activity in just in general, is malicious NPM packages. So NPM is the package manager for Node. And so Moonstone Sleet, this group, I'm just going to say this group going forward, this group is releasing malicious NPM packages. So this would be considered a supply chain attack. The big one that we heard of recently was in XZ, which propagated down to, I don't remember exactly which versions. We did cover it, I believe, on this on our weekly brief. But XZ was a popular package that was used in, I think, most, if not all, Linux distributions. And that XZ package was backdoored, and it had worked its way down into some development versions of the Linux distros. But this is a very similar attack here. They poison or backdoor packages, third-party libraries that are being pulled down by other applications or other operating systems to then, get code execution or, do whatever their particular, execute whatever their particular goal is. But they are doing that. They're releasing some games. The one that I want to focus on here today is, if we scroll down, fake companies. So this is something where we've seen a big increase in North Korea, state-sponsored groups in particular, starting to create fake companies. And not only that, but start to apply for IT and tech jobs in Western countries. But in this case, Microsoft did a very good job of identifying some of these fake companies that were spun up. In this case, one of them was called Starglow Ventures. And the threat actors used this fake company to send out a bunch of cold emails. So, every time you get the next time you get a unsolicited email from a salesperson, it might be a North Korean threat actor. So you better be careful. But this particular group spun up a couple of different companies, one of them being Starglow Ventures, and they performed outreach to various people in mobile apps, blockchain, AI, and tried to start, some sort of business development activity with them, some sort of partnership or whatever it might be. They had another one. Let's see, where is it called? CC Waterfall, where there's full websites, there's social media, there's the whole thing. If you were to look these up, which they're probably, this one in particular is probably taken down now, but if you were to look these up, they would look legitimate, right? There'd be social media accounts, there'd be LinkedIn pages, all that kind of stuff, websites. But they were doing outreach using these companies. So this is a tactic that we've seen North Korean threat actors start to employ more and more, to not only spinning up fake companies and doing biz dev outreach or some sort of sales outreach. We've also seen them try to gain jobs as in a Western-based company. In fact, recently an Arizona woman was charged with helping North Koreans get remote jobs. She went so far as to spin up a laptop farm for these individuals to connect to. So she was based in Arizona, Litchfield Park, Arizona. She would have a whole bunch of laptops, I think like in her basement or something, where individuals from this North Korean group would connect to those laptop farms and then actually RDP or connect to the company that they had gotten a job at, and a Western company, US-based company. So this is another, these two things, the fake companies and then doing everything they can to gain jobs in IT in Western companies has actually served them well, and they've been quite successful with it. So more information, more links in the description and the comments to read up on this, but definitely a tactic you're going to see more of. They started out with actually security researchers. Maybe 2 years ago, we started to see this from North Korean threat actors, to where they would contact people to work in cybersecurity and say, "Hey, I built this particular tool. Would you be willing to contribute?" And send them that tool source code, which happened to have a backdoor in it, or some other piece of malicious code. But tactic that we've seen to really start to increase, and they're being successful with it. So again, more links in the description and in the comments. Also, as far as links go, you will see a link to our penetration testing ROI calculator. This is something that's been very helpful for clients and colleagues of ours to try and sell penetration testing, upstairs, try and really get the budget for it. If you can show the return on spending money on more than just a check the box compliance pen test, this is a valuable tool to be able to get buy-in from stakeholders and get budget allocated for a penetration test. So check out the link to that as well. We think it'll be helpful. We know it's been helpful for others, and we want to make sure that you're able to get a hold of it. That's it for this week. I appreciate you taking the time with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, an excellent weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Speak soon.
Thanks for watching. For more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn, and visit us at risk360.com to learn how we can help your business succeed.